What's up, y'all? Welcome back. It's Ichin. This is Dawless Beatmaking 3, and today we're going to be sampling from YouTube. A lot of my videos up to this point have kind of been SP focused. I've had a couple things where I show the Octatrack, but the Octatrack is my main sampler, so I kind of want to spend more time kind of talking about what it's like bringing things in there, how I arrange music there, what are the pros to owning something like the Octatrack versus something like the SP. I think they have two very different purposes when I use them, and I make music very differently depending on which one I use. I've spent a lot of time kind of showing how I sample, how to take samples in from a turntable on the SP, and today I kind of wanted to show something a little different, showcase the Octatrack a little bit more, work with a couple samples that I found from the internet, and create something new there. I love sampling from records. I like taking it directly from vinyl, having the ability to kind of use the varispeed, choose how I want to listen to my music on the turntable has always been what kind of drew me in from the beginning. But I've spent the better part of this past year learning a little bit more about like how to search for things in areas where I can't find the record. There's a lot of music on the internet. To be able to kind of take what I hear there to learn how to dig there is definitely a very different experience than having like a tangible record. So if we go here over to my computer, you can see I have two different tabs open. These are going to be the samples that I'm working with today. The limitations to sampling from vinyl is that you have to be able to find that record. And a lot of finding records for me is kind of random. I look for cool album covers. I look for musicians in the liner notes. I look for certain record labels, try to learn a bit about like different musical movements, and then when I'm in the record store I kind of piece together what I think will be a good choice when I bring it in here. I listen to the whole record and find things there, and the internet is a little bit different. There are things that you can't normally find pressed to vinyl. You can't find broadcasted performances. You can't find a lot of music on vinyl that is now like shared on the internet freely by a bunch of different people who do a lot of archivist work and collecting of songs, albums that most people will probably never really get to encounter outside of it, which is also what I love about vinyl. It's just its own different way of kind of finding music, exploring music, and understanding. So I'm going to be working with this Destiny's Child and Celine Dion song. It's The Emotion live at Celine Dion Special 2002. And then another channel that I think a lot of different crate diggers or like music enthusiasts know about is Adventures in Sound. I found a little break here, so I'm going to go ahead and chop a break and then chop the samples from the Celine Dion Destiny's Child song and kind of make something new out of that on the Octatrack. So from the computer is an 1/8 inch jack to RCA, ins to my SP404SX. And out of the SP404SX is RCA to 1/4 inch ins, and the 1/4 inches are going into input C and D of my Octatrack. So if I play what's here on my computer, it's going to be running through my SX, and from the SX going straight to my Octatrack. So if I press play.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together with me. Let's give it up for Destiny's Child!
So we have the performance there, and then we have a drum break right here. So let's go ahead and take this into the Octatrack. As you can see here, this is input C and D, and this is what is being received from the SP404SX and in turn being received from my computer. So everything is running through here. Everything that's being played from the Octatrack is being sent through the Q sends here to the SP404 Mark II, so I can use some of the SP404 Mark II's effects, and then is being brought back on input A and B of the Octatrack here. So I kind of have the ability to use all the effects on the SP404 Mark II and treat it on anything that is being brought into the Octatrack landscape, which for now is the samples from my computer and the SX. Right now I have dedicated tracks 7, 6, and 5. I've recorded within the recording setup window of the Octatrack. This is where we're going to be recording our samples, so I'm probably going to be using track 5 and track 6 to respectively record the break and the actual live performance. So if I play the sample here, we can see that it's coming in right here. So I'm going to go ahead and record that into track 6. So when we look at recording in and we record it to the correct recording buffer here on the Octatrack, we're going to go ahead and just play the song and then press record, and everything that is being played from my computer will be taken into the Octatrack. And you can see the waveform here. So now we're going to go to track 5 and record the actual live performance that I found. We'll record this in.
It's over and done, but the heartache lives on inside.
So with these knobs we can kind of see the waveform at different heights. Doesn't actually change the volume of anything, just kind of shows it in a different way. We can zoom in, zoom out, scroll, etc. We have an edit window, we have an attributes window, and we have a file window. So when we're slicing, there's a few important things that we need to do. We're going to go into the SRC source window and we're going to turn slice on, and then we're going to use function and these arrows to change what kind of mode we're in. So we're going to go to slices so we can actually play out the slices. So once we have that all set up, we'll go into AED, and if you press yes, it'll give you options to create slices, delete them, create a slice grid, so on. We're going to go ahead and do add slice here, and when you've done that, you can see that the slice now appears on our Octatrack on the left button here. So if I play it, so I'm going to go ahead and chop this really quickly. So now I got everything chopped up. I have 3 pages worth, 2.5 pages give or take, of different chops, and I can play all these. So the slice mode on the Octatrack actually conveniently puts everything in a mute group. So whenever you play the next chop, it cuts off the audio of the last thing. So one thing that you should know about the Octatrack is that if you turn it off and you did these chops, you need to save it. Otherwise, when you turn on your system, they will not be there. So I'm going to show how to do that really quick. We're going to stay in AED, and we're going to go over to the furthermost button on the right, FX2, which is File here on the Octatrack, and we're going to go down to Save and Assign Sample. Saving sample, and it will ask assign to self, assign to free flex, assign to free static. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to the track it's already on, so assign to self, and now we have our samples saved there. So whenever we come back to our session here, this project, we'll be able to play these chops just as I chop them up here. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the drum break. So I went and chopped the break there. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing and save this now. And now we have both of the things from YouTube that we wanted to sample, and now they're in the Octatrack laid out with the chops that I set myself. I'm going to go ahead and go to Project, go to Metronome, so when we press play, we can hear the metronome. Let's try to find a place where these chops play well at. So I kind of have a feel of what the rhythm is like, right? So I'm going to go ahead and tap that tempo in. So now that we found the tempo, I'm going to go ahead, go to the main sample, and pitch it down a little bit. And the pitch will also change how long in between beats that you have as long as the time stretch is turned off. So I'm actually going to have to refine the tempo, but at least I'm in the ballpark and I know that I'm going to have to bring it down. Let's find a good pitch to keep this at. A little too low. Maybe I'll do a -3. -2. So if you hold pattern down, you have up to 16 patterns here. We're in pattern 1, so I'm going to go ahead and try laying in my first pattern to build off of. Okay, go ahead and turn the metronome off now. So let's start with this pattern for now. Not my favorite yet. But let's go ahead and try playing some of the drums in. Go ahead and copy this pattern over. Whoops. I'm going to go ahead and do function, copy, go into the second pattern, paste it, and see if I could find different chops to put over the drums that I kind of laid out. So I found a little loop that I liked out of it. Got the drums there and I got the song. I'm going to go ahead and go to track 8 and add a little bit of compression here. Turn up the ratio. Going to add a little bit of the lo-fi effect to the drums. Add some distortion. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some of the effects on the SP and kind of change the sound of the song that I have here. So now I have 3 different compressors on it. I think a lot of beat making is kind of finding the groove in the way that the song is pumping. I did a light compressor on the Octatrack going into the SP, kind of remove some of the just peaks that exist from the beginning, and then I added the compressor on the SP404, and then I did the 303 compressor on top of that to kind of give it a little bit more bottom. And with my DJM mixer, I can now do a little bit of a EQ mix on it. So if I remove everything, I normally dial in the highs, find the lows, then bring in the mids. Gonna make a third pattern. So now I have a little beat that I made. I'm going to go ahead and record this with the effects that I kind of have laid out and record it into my SP404 now. I'm going to press record here, select the pad I want to record on, hit recording and press play. And you can see here we're swapping between 2 patterns that I made. And once I've recorded it, we can now listen to it here. I'm going to change the start point to the very beginning. I'm going to truncate that. creative application of the DJ effects looper. I liked having my print kind of here on my pad 1, and then I'll do a bunch of different takes with different sounds that I get out of the SP to kind of decide what I want the beat to be. The DJ effects looper, if you change the speed, it kind of it pitches it down. You can play it in reverse as well. But normally bringing it down like 10, you get a bunch of little skips that you wouldn't normally perform at, and it creates a lot of, I guess, variation in the beat as you print it. So if I play it without versus with it on, kind of adds a little bit of swing, and that's all determined just by how the SP processes it. So I'm going to hit resample, press the pad I want to be on, and I'm going to press the pad that I recorded from the Octatrack. Gonna stop the recording, but as you can hear, the DJ effects looper maintains the speed but introduces random little skips in the actual beat when you have it engaged and don't have it playing at the 100 speed. I'm gonna go ahead and add the cassette sim on here because I pitched down the sample and the DJ effects looper is doing that, so I kind of want a little bit more of the high end to be represented here so things don't get too low fidelity, or at least too underwater sounding, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and resample again, and now we got the beat. Something I like doing with all my songs at the end once I have something, especially because I do so much pitching, and I kind of play the beat at the tempo that works best for actually playing chops, which tends to be slower tempos. I try to always speed it up or slow it down, see how the song sounds after the fact. So I'm gonna go into the pitch and speed and kind of alter that and find which pitch and tempo I kind of like for the beat that I recorded. And if I don't like anything, I have all the different renditions that I've done. So maybe I want to pitch the original thing that I recorded in. So in this video, I kind of showed how everything was made in the Octatrack. I have a lot more control over what I'm doing. I have 8 tracks to kind of mix and change. I only ended up using 2 here, but even having that control is a lot easier to do on the Octatrack than the SP. And then I record what I do in the Octatrack onto the SP and use this for what it's good at, taking whole files and kind of manipulating and changing those with the effects that everybody loves so much about the 404 Mark II. Hoping to kind of broaden the scope of the videos and kind of delve into more of the complicated, comprehensive beat making I do. I've kind of always kept it to a few tracks for simplicity's sake, but I'm hoping to eventually utilize all 7 of these and create full songs for y'all. Up to this point, a lot of my production on the channel has been a little bit more instrumental hip-hop leaning. I'm hoping to kind of showcase what I can do in the dance realm with the Octatrack and the SP. Ordered a couple MIDI cables so I can actually send some clock information. I normally just put things in by ear and match them up there, but hopefully we'll be getting more into the generative side of music, using some of the weird things the Octatrack has to offer, and then using the SP in its sequencer in the future. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. This is Ichin, Dawless Beatmaking 3. See y'all next time.